Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are unraveling one of the most mysterious and honestly misunderstood medical topics out there. We're decoding a condition that affects literally millions of people, yet completely flies under the radar for most of us. We're talking about high blood pressure, which has earned a rather ominous nickname, the silent killer.
So right off the bat, we have to ask, why is it called the silent killer? I mean, how can a condition be so incredibly deadly yet manage to go completely unnoticed? Well, the answer lies in the stealthy nature of human biology. Many people simply do not realize they have elevated blood pressure until serious health problems have already developed. It just works quietly in the background. But today, we're going to expose its tactics.
Okay, let's dive into this and get our baseline. Hypertension is the clinical term for what we're discussing today. Elevated blood pressure levels that can lead to serious health problems. Think of your cardiovascular system kind of like the plumbing in a house. When the pressure of the water pushing against the walls of the pipes is consistently too high, it puts a ton of strain on the entire system. Similarly, high blood pressure forces your heart and your arteries into a really dangerous overdrive.
Let's start with our first thematic group, head and vision warning signs, or as I like to call them, the early whispers you shouldn't ignore.
Look, almost all of us get a headache now and then, right? It's a totally normal part of life, but frequent or severe headaches, that is where we need to start paying attention. While headaches can have a whole bunch of causes, a recurring, severe symptom like this might actually be linked to elevated blood pressure levels. The frequency is your cue here, shifting this from a normal everyday annoyance to a potential warning sign.
And the exact same rule of contrast applies to dizziness. Occasional dizziness happens to absolutely anyone. Maybe you just stood up a little too fast. But frequent, persistent dizziness, that could actually signal an underlying health issue. It's that contrast between occasional and frequent that serves as your body's diagnostic clue.
Now here's an interesting one. Your eyes can actually reveal some incredibly important clues about your holistic health. Why? Because high blood pressure affects blood vessels throughout your entire body, and that explicitly includes those tiny, delicate blood vessels located right in your eyes. Any changes in your vision, particularly blurred vision, should be taken very seriously as a direct reflection of elevated pressure.
Which brings us to our second major group of symptoms, heart and energy warning signs. It's time to start listening to your body's engine. Let's talk about shortness of breath. The really critical context here is feeling out of breath during normal daily activities. If you just ran a marathon, well sure, shortness of breath is totally expected. But if you're just walking out to the mailbox or climbing a single flight of stairs, that's different. Shortness of breath can happen for a lot of reasons, heavily including various heart and lung conditions. But in some cases, uncontrolled high blood pressure might directly contribute to this symptom. Basically, your engine is struggling to pump efficiently against all that high pressure. Now, I want to address this next symptom with the absolute highest level of seriousness, chest discomfort. While chest symptoms can have many different causes ranging from mild to severe, they should never, ever be ignored. Always seek immediate medical attention for a prompt evaluation if you experience severe chest pain. Really, do not wait on this one. It's a primary warning sign that your body's engine is in acute distress.
Are you feeling unusually tired lately? Just lacking energy on a regular basis? Sure, fatigue can come from a bad night's sleep, stress, or just a heavy workload. But the key word here is persistent. A persistent lack of energy definitely deserves some attention. Your body is working overtime against elevated blood pressure, and it's just draining your internal energy reserves.
All right, we've covered the common areas, but our investigation wouldn't be complete without looking at our third category, the rare but real sign, an uncommon indicator.
And here is that slightly surprising sign, frequent nosebleeds. Now, you shouldn't automatically assume every nosebleed means you have hypertension, but regular, frequent nosebleeds may sometimes occur in people who have significantly elevated blood pressure. The sheer pressure of the blood can occasionally cause the really small vessels in the nasal passage to rupture. So, we've systematically covered 7 distinct warning signs. But now we arrive at section 4, the plot twist, the ultimate hidden truth. Let this sit with you for just a second. Many people with high blood pressure experience no symptoms at all. Seriously, after everything we just went through, the headaches, the blurred vision, the fatigue, this stealthy adversary usually makes absolutely no sound. You can feel perfectly fine while your body is quietly sustaining damage. Crazy, right? And because of that hidden truth, the number 50 is your most important demographic imperative. Regular blood pressure checks are essential for everyone, for sure, but they become absolutely critical after the age of 50.
Because the condition often presents zero symptoms, proactively monitoring your numbers is really the only way to know if your blood pressure is dangerously elevated. So, how do we actually fight an enemy we can't see or feel? We move to our final section, taking control, your active defense.
Let's do a really quick recap of the 7 warning signs we've uncovered during this explainer, just to lock them into your memory. Frequent headaches, shortness of breath, dizziness, blurred vision, chest discomfort, fatigue, and frequent nosebleeds. Memorize these, maybe jot them down. If these start to cluster or persist, your body is raising a red flag.
Now, before we wrap up, I've got to give an essential disclaimer. These symptoms have many different causes. Having one of these does not necessarily mean you have high blood pressure. This explainer is strictly for educational purposes, and you should always consult a qualified healthcare professional regarding your health. They're the detectives who can actually properly interpret these clues.
Ultimately, your active defense comes down to a simple truth. Regular checkups and healthy lifestyle habits remain your absolute best protection. Because hypertension is so often symptomless, building a routine of getting your numbers checked by a doctor is the only way to stay ahead of it. Seriously, don't wait for the whispers to turn into shouts.
Which leaves us with one final, vital question for you to ponder today. Have you checked your blood pressure recently? Think about it. If you can't remember the last time you saw those numbers, it might be time to make an appointment. Thank you so much for joining me today to decode this silent killer. Keep learning, stay proactive, and use this knowledge to protect your health. Catch you next time.